When I mention the Homeshare Agreement, it's to record. It's a handshake agreement, really. It's not a legal document, but it records the amount of time that's officially, quote unquote, officially spent, because the way this particular program thinks Homeshare is a fair trade is that I look at the value of the room, not officially, but let's say a room would cost $650 a month to rent. I divide that by an hourly rate, and with that hourly rate I usually come up with an hour to an hour and a half a day of help. Now, if it's a guest house, it may be 2 hours a day. It's all about the value. But what you see that happens is, of course, if we do have the time and we're patient to wait for that person to come along, then, I can almost guarantee that a new friendship will start and people will spend more time and will not think about hours. It's very important that people are generous, that they're not in it just to get something out of another person. So it's a two-way street, and it has to be an equal partnership. There's not an employee-employer relationship. If we try that, it doesn't work. So it's also not a way to get a cheap caregiver in the house, because that's not the way it works. It's not about caregiving. It's about non-personal assistance. If someone needs a caregiver to live in, then Homeshare isn't the one for them. I just wish that, I hear stories about guest houses in Pebble Beach with elderly people who ask their attorneys to find someone, and that person gets paid 24 hours a day to be there or to help out or to cook a meal or to drive. With the Homeshare program, this can be a free service. Not only the service, but the service provided can be free. So people felt comfortable about the kind of people who are referred, and the references that are checked. I ask for live scan fingerprinting. Nobody ever refuses, because everybody who comes to Homeshare is a quality person. If they're not quality and I sense that there's not enough integrity or what, then they're not the right candidate. But there is live scan fingerprinting, which scans for California criminal background, which is of course limited, but I also ask for 1 year residency in California. Many times people apply who have lived in California before, who want to be near children. Many women want to be near children and grandchildren, but the rents are too high, so they think about Homeshare. Sometimes it's not just services for rent. It could also be a person who could pay some rent. Like several years ago, I'm looking at my list here, this was 4 years ago, I went to visit a woman at Quill Meadows who had a small guest house and an unruly dog. And she wanted somebody to rent her guest house, but would consider reduced rent if this person was willing to sometimes take care of her dog if she went away. Now, she wanted $800, and many people almost no one who comes to Homeshare can afford or wants to pay $800. But, a day after or a week after I visited this woman, somebody applied to be a volunteer in a different program of the Alliance. And the program manager found out that she had been looking for an apartment and hadn't found anything that was to her liking. And so the program manager decided to suggest she come and talk to me. And this woman could easily pay $800. And she was one of those magical people who sat down, and immediately I knew where she was going. she was going to Quail Meadows, and she's been there 4 years. So she pays rent, and these two women have become the best of friends. So, and today I'm making introductions between two women in their early 50s. One of them needs to rent out a room because of these times that are so expensive. Her son is in college, and she still has a daughter at home, and she would love for someone to pay some rent. And I have a woman whose son also went off to college, who couldn't afford her apartment anymore, and I think the two of them can help each other. So I make those introductions too, and maybe that's something that will happen more and more as people, of younger age take advantage of this. I mean, officially the program caters to 55 and over because we're a senior service organization. So I stick to that. We're here to help seniors, but early 50s is fine too. I'll do what I can because it's also about housing and helping people, and housing is still something that hasn't really come down. Rentals haven't come down in the area.